iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. I got a lot to talk about this week. Really do this week today. I'm going to go over some things I saw this weekend, some injuries, a draft I did last night, and of course we will talk about the Cardinals podcast preview. So first of all, Dillison Lamet, I don't know if you saw, he left yesterday with an elbow injury. He is sidelined until May. I love Dillison Lamet. I know Sean Childs did as well. He is out now, at least for the next 8 weeks. Got to watch that very closely. I'm sure they're going to give him time, and then they're going to see whether or not he needs surgery. So if the time can heal the wound, so be it. If not, he's going to go under the knife. So please don't draft Lamet right now. That would be a bad life decision. I don't know if you saw Scott Kingery got a 6-year, $24 million extension, and they've said that he's going to start the year with the team. I love this guy. If I had a Roto child this year, which I may have, I'm going to name him Scott Kingery Roto. That's how much I like him. He's really a great player. I'm glad he's got this opportunity. If he's out there in drafts, go get him right now. Okay? He's my hitter. And Luke Weaver's my pitcher. You know that. You know how much I like Luke Weaver. I took him in every single draft. That's how much I like Luke Weaver. So I think that's some news there. Now remember, right now, pay attention every day. If you're in leagues, who's up, who's down, who's optioned, who's here, who's hurt. You know, this is something we have to watch closely. Now, luckily, this is a short week. Right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But still, I can't have you miss 3 games of play. So please pay attention. We'll try to get you the latest stuff here at ScoutFantasySports.com. I went to the Red Sox Astro game and this weekend, and a couple things. So first of all, I was there when Chris Sale got hurt. It was like this. Ready? That was the entire stadium. All of JetBlue Park was, really holding our collective breath. Luckily, it was a hip contusion. It looked a whole lot worse. I sat there and I said to myself, mad bum and now Chris Sale? Really? That's how bad it was. Horrible. Thankfully, he's expected to pitch opening day, so don't lose hope with him. I love how Xander Bogaerts looks this year. I don't know whether he's going to bring what he's doing in Florida up to Boston, but if he is, he's a must-get this year. He looks locked in. I love how this guy's hitting. Hanley Ramirez looks so bad right now. How Alex Cora is batting him third, I have no idea. This guy looks lost at the plate. His swing looks late. His timing is off. It's a disaster. Bogaerts looks great. I don't know why this guy's not batting third. This seems to be a layup. J.D. Martinez, very important player for the Red Sox this year. They need his bat so desperately in the middle of that lineup. It's true. Desperate for him. For the Astros, Springer was there because they don't really take, on the away trips, you don't see a lot of guys. Springer was there. Bregman looked very good. And Derek Fisher looked good. Now, I know he rolled his ankle and he left the game. But prior to that, he was making some really good contact. He was 2 for 2 and he blasted a couple. So keep your eye on Derek Fisher late in drafts. He could be very interesting. So last night, I did an NFC online championship draft with a good friend of mine, Andy. And we had the 7th pick. And I thought it was a tough draft. I thought there were some smart players. But what was interesting is I really felt for the first time like I was drafting in a total vacuum. I only saw our team. I didn't have the draft board up. I know Andy did, but I was just drafting in a vacuum, which I don't like to do. I like to see the board and pay attention. I just never felt this way for me. It was a little hard. We ended up getting Paul Goldschmidt in round 1. He seems to be dropping. I don't get it. Humidor, I get the Humidor. Still going to hit 20, 25 home runs. Still going to hit 300. Still going to hit 100 RBI. Still going to hit 10 to 15 bases. Still going to steal 10 to 15 bases. He's dropping in drafts, but I'm not dropping this guy. I'm a big fan. I really am. Another takeaway. Aaron Judge, we got in the 3rd round last night. 3rd round, pick 7. 3-7, Aaron Judge. Really? Now, I know there's some good players out there. We could have taken Springer. We could have taken Buxton. I probably should have taken Springer. I get that. But how do you leave Aaron Judge and that power there? I know there's flaws in this guy's game. I get it. There's flaws. But 45 home runs is not a flaw. Pretty happy to get Aaron Nola as our first pitcher in round 5. And we got Jared Cole in round 6. Thought that was pretty lucky. Felt really good about getting Yohan Moncada in round 10. I think this guy's going to be a very special player. As I go through the draft and I see guys who we got, Mike Clevenger I like very much. Kyle Schwarber I think has a good year. So, I got a couple of older guys who I wasn't really thrilled with. Evan Longoria and Matt Carpenter. But sometimes these old guys make sense, right? Sometimes these old guys make sense. I was pretty happy with that. I think overall we'll be very competitive. I think it's going to come down to how good is Aaron Judge? If he's as good as last year, everybody made a mistake. They really did. And will our pitching hold up? Our best pitchers are Nola, Cole, Berrios, Clevenger, Minaya. Are those guys going to be good enough to get us to the next level? If they're as good as I think they can be, I'm going to be pretty happy with that. If they're not, I'm in big trouble. Do I have enough speed? Yeah, I got Starling Marte and Lorenzo Cain and Moncada and Happ. The speed and Tim Anderson. Got the speed thing down. But it's all going to come down to the pitching. Who's going to get the best pitchers? Right? One guy here, the guy who took Kershaw, didn't take another pitcher until round 12. But then he got Bumgarner in round 13, which could be a genius move. Kershaw, Bumgarner, that's how low he dropped. So if you were wondering, how far did Madison Bumgarner drop? Round 13. I thought that was good value there. I have no problem with the guy taking him there. Probably was on my radar. He was actually on my radar about 3 rounds earlier, but we had just taken Berrios and we needed to get some hitting. So I let it go. Could be a genius move by that guy. Could be a genius move. Some things that shocked me here. Let's see. Nick Castellanos in the 8th round. I like him, but I don't know if he was an 8th round player. Just going through each team here. Nothing crazy. Ohtani, if you were wondering where Ohtani's going, he went in the 9th round, which is a little lower than I thought he should be. Tanaka went in the 10th round. I thought that was very good value. Buster Posey went in the 7th round. So as you see, catchers are really falling. Whit Merrifield went in the 5th round. That's a little high. I think that guy overpaid for steals. Bumgarner, as I said, went in round 13. This team here, Xander Bogaerts took in round 6. I like Xander Bogaerts, but that seems to be a little high for me. Let's see. Judge went in round 3 on my team. Chris Archer went in round 5. I like Chris Archer. He's a good pitcher, but man, that team stinks. That team stinks. He might win like 5 games. Seriously, he might win like 5 games. So trying to go through the teams here. Jake Arrieta went in round 8. Marwin Gonzalez went in round 4. I don't know whether the guy made a mistake or not, or whether he knows something I don't. I like Marwin Gonzalez, but I don't like Marwin Gonzalez that much. That's a little cray-cray. Jonathan Scope went in round 8. I thought that was a great pick. Odor went in round 9. I thought that was a terrific pick. My boy Luke Weaver. Trevor Story. Luke Weaver went in round 9. I like that. Trevor Story went in round 12. I think that's a really good pick too. Smart pick. All right, let's get to the St. Louis Cardinals podcast preview. I don't like Yad Molina. I know a lot of people do. He's just never going to be on my team. I don't really want 35-year-old catchers. That said, he's still productive. The problem is, for me, at some point he's going to slow down. And my problem is, I'm going to look at this guy and go, he's going to slow down at some point. Right? He's going to slow down at some point. And I don't want to be the guy holding the bag, right? I'm holding the bag on Yad Molina when he starts to stink. And that's my trepidation in life. I worry about that a lot. I don't want the old guy because when he's old, he's going to suck and then I'm stuck with him. So I tend not to draft a guy like that. I tend to draft Austin Hedges, Austin Barnes, guys like that. Now, Matt Carpenter, I think, is interesting. I told you I took him in the NFBC last night. Carpenter's 32, but he's starting to hit for power. He's a pretty darn good hitter. You know what you're getting with this guy. I don't think he's going to hit 240. So I think you're going to get 270 with about 20 home runs and 80 RBIs. I'm worried about the back. Yes, I am. But he's a good hitter. I really like Colton Wong. Big Colton Wong fan. But the problem is, where is he going to bat in the order? If he bats first or second, Colton Wong could steal 30 bases. If he bats 8th or ninth, he's going to steal 10. So watch Colton Wong this season and where he's batting in the order. If he's on your waiver wire and he's batting first or second, you pick him up right away. Right away. Because that's how good a player he could be. Paul DeJong. One of my friends calls Paul DeJong like Brian Dozier. Not in terms of how they play, but in terms of people didn't catch on to Brian Dozier until it was too late. Now, if you all remember, I was on Brian Dozier way before anybody else was. He was my guy. And I won a lot that year because I had Dozier in round 14 when everybody else was taking Kipnis in 4. I feel the same way about Paul DeJong this year. People are not taking this guy. Oh, his strikeout rate is 28%. The dude is going to hit 30-something home runs. So he's not a superstar. How many shortstops do you know that hit 35 home runs? I think DeJong can do that. Keep your eyeballs peeled to him. And you're going to get him later than you should. I mean, I think he's a pretty good player. I'm trying to look here. Shortstop, DeJong. One moment, please. Please hold. How low did this guy go? I'm looking at last night's draft. Where did DeJong go? I'll find it. But he went pretty late here. Yeah, I can't even find... When I can't find the dude, that's not a good sign. So let's see. Gregorius, Lindor. This guy doesn't even seem to have one. Trey Turner, Semien, Seager, Bogarts, Cozart, Tim Anderson, Simmons, Andrus, Rosario. I'll have to find this guy. I don't know. I think DeJong's a pretty darn good player. I do. Maybe it's... Oh, yeah, here he is. Second base. Round 13. Guy's going to hit 30 home runs in round 13. What's wrong with that? I think he's going to give you as good value. What if I told you that he's as good as Nick Castellanos type of guy? Now, I know Castellanos qualifies at third base and outfield, but DeJong qualifies at a couple spots too. I think their numbers could be very similar, but Nick Castellanos is going around 8 and DeJong is going around 13. Jed Jorko. Good player. Nobody ever seems to draft this guy. All he does is hit like 20, 30 home runs and 50, 60 RBIs. You know, he's not a great player, but he's good enough, like Jorko, especially in an NL-only league. So let me give you my problem with Marcell Ozuna and Tommy Pham because I'm going to lump them together. Okay? I like both players. Don't let it be said ever that Dr. Roto doesn't love these players. I do. Now, the problem is that their numbers last year were so good that I think you're paying full price for those numbers this year. Tommy Pham gets 23 home runs and 26 stolen bases and hits 300. You're paying for that. Where do you think Tommy Pham is going in leagues? He's going very high in leagues because he had such a great year. And here he ran in round 6 because it's a 12-team league. That's probably like 4 or 5 in a 15-team league. You're paying full value. Ozuna goes in round 5. That's full value. These guys have to do what they did last year to earn that again. I'm not saying they won't, but I'm saying I don't want to pay full price for that. Right? Because if they give me a 10 or 15% regression, then they're worth about 3 or 4 rounds lower. Not too many rounds lower, but 3 or 4. And I'm going to have to pay full value. Now see, Aaron Judge, I got at the discount. Because people are taking Judge in round 2. By getting him in round 3, I get the Judge discount. What discount am I getting at Ozuna? None. None. What discount am I getting at Pham? None. You want discounts. You want value. That's how you win fantasy leagues. The more value you get, the better off you are. I like Dexter Fowler as the other outfielder there. Dexter Fowler is that guy who never seems to get drafted when he should, but he's a very good player. What does he do? Gets 15 home runs, gets 15 steals, scores runs. He won the 21st round. 21st round. It's a good player. Probably he's worth 5 rounds earlier, but people never seem to take him. You should take him if you can get him late. I like him. Love Carlos Martinez. Big fan. Big fan. Huge fan. Huge fan of Luke Weaver. Michael Walker's turning from a thrower to a pitcher, so maybe his numbers aren't going to be as dynamic, but he's a really good pitcher. And keep your eyeballs on Miles Mikolas. They paid him a whole lot of money to come from Japan. A whole lot of cash. 2 years, $15.5 million. They're hoping that he's going to improve. His spring training started out terribly, but got better. And Jack Flaherty is a very good young pitcher. and he's going to be in the starting rotation until Wainwright comes back. But this guy is interesting to me. I like this rotation. Martinez, Walker, Weaver, Mikolas, and Flaherty all can be in a team. Don't love the bullpen. Like Dominic Leone a little bit. Not a big Luke Gregerson fan, but he's effective. Like Alex Reyes, but worried about Alex Reyes. And if you're drafting him for this year, bad life decision. I don't think he's going to help you enough this year. I think he'll help you a whole lot next year, but not this year. Bud Norris, Tyler Lyons, they're okay. Dominic Leone's probably my favorite guy, and Gregerson's okay. But I do like this pitching staff. Look, this is a good team. And let me tell you something about the Cardinals. This is a wonderful organization. Wonderful. They do everything correctly. I have been to their, I don't know where I was, but I was at some hotel somewhere in Florida, and it was like a Cardinals family thing. Man, they did it up right. Everybody was there. It was such a positive attitude. Great place. Everybody's having a good time. The Cardinals know how to treat their players and their fans. They are a wonderful organization, and guys go there and get better. Did you ever notice that? When a guy goes to St. Louis and he's better, that tells you everything you need to know about an organization. It's a high-end organization. So when you have a player at the end of a draft and you're like, do I take this bum or this bum? Always take the bum on the Cardinals, because that bum will be a better player, because the Cardinals extract the most out of their guys. They always do that. Good teams get the most out of their players. Crappy teams get the least. Isn't that life itself? So really, when in doubt, draft a Cardinal. Love me Luke Weaver this year. Everybody said I drafted him too high. Everybody said I drafted him too high. You know what? I think I drafted him just fine. He's going to be a star. Walker, great. Martinez, great. That bullpen holds up. And you know what? I think Greg Holland would be a great fit there. And that's the beautiful thing about the Cardinals. If they need a player, they'll get one. They'll spend when they need to. And they take care of their guys when they need to. Sometimes too much. DeYoung got money in the offseason. People are like, why did they pay this guy? Because he's going to come in and play well. Because he's happy that he has a contract. Think about it. When your employer pays you well, do you do a good job? Absolutely. When you're pissed off about money, what do? Crappy work. Come on. The Cardinals have figured it out. The Cardinals have figured it out. All right. Getting hyped up here. Do me a favor. ScoutFantasySports.com. I'm also hyped up about something else. CBS has you guys duped. We do not work for ScoutFantasy.com anymore. You go to Scout Fantasy, you see my stuff there. I don't write for Scout Fantasy. I write for Scout Fantasy Sports. ScoutFantasySports.com. That's where we are. Sean Childs, Adam Ronis, Dr. Roto. That's where we are. Don't go to Scout Fantasy. I want you to go there now if you're a member. I want you to cancel your membership, and I want you to start your membership at Scout Fantasy Sports. Don't let CBS dupe you into thinking we're with them. We're not. We're by ourselves doing our thing. ScoutFantasySports.com. That's where you need to be. All right, but it's time now to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Back tomorrow with so much more to help you in your fantasy baseball leagues. This is Dr. Roto saying be well, take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit ScoutFantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!